Okay, so this should be probably like 30 minutes. But we're going to start doing this on Sundays. For one, accountability is everything, right? Because then if we all have to come together and make a plan, then we have a plan for the week. And when we're more organized, then we can, like, less thinking, just more taking action. Because that is, you know, one thing we have to work on as a team is just more action, less thinking about it, less getting in our head. We are totally trained, totally qualified. No more analysis paralysis. So just executing a plan. So Rachel, Danielle is driving. Rachel is here live. If you're watching the recording, because I know a few people wanted to, I suggest having some kind of a, like, you don't need a fancy notebook or a planner to successfully plan. For a long time, all I did was take and still to this day, that's how I meal plan, is I take a piece of paper and I just do like Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, and then times down the side. So I have this, it's called a passion planner. That it's that same thing. I literally have had it since 2016. So it's my goal this year to, like, I don't actually think I need to stick with this calendar. It's just the point of planning and being super intentional. But it's a really great way to start, especially when you are starting a routine. So if you don't have that, get that out, or get a notebook paper and create just the times on the side and the days of the week across. Start at like probably 5 a.m. Or like 5:30 for your times. Successful people get up before the sun. You are, and I'm listening to a new book by Gabby, what's her last name? Gabby Bernstein. She wrote The Universe Has Your Back and a bunch of other really great ones. But her new one, and she was just talking about how your inner ego and your inner critic is really quiet in the morning. And so you are like your most, I don't know the terminology that she used super great, but your energy, essentially your energy is aligned early in the morning. And so when you take action first thing in the morning, like, it is coming with the least amount of resistance. Where if you're waiting to do your most important thing till 9 o'clock at night, it's probably not going to happen. And then you're going to roll it over, and then 2 weeks go by and you still haven't even done this one thing that would really take you 20 minutes if you were just to do it, but you're avoiding it. So getting up early is something that I'm going to challenge everybody to start doing. And then, so after you plot your times, I'm going to give you time right now to plot out, like, things that are out of your control, right? So do you have an appointment? Do you have a work shift? Like, if you, like, those people, like Danielle, for example, works the same Monday through Friday schedule, where Brenna's changes, mine changes. So when you're sitting down to plan your week, right now, plan your things. Do your kids have dance? Do your kids have appointments? Do you have an appointment? Do you have counseling? Like, these are the things that I'm plotting right now. And that is blocked off time. So do that right now. There's no music, because if I put music on a recording, YouTube blocks it. So do 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 do. Like, this week is Super Saturday, if you are unaware. So if that's something you need to block off, yay, do that. In some weeks, right, life is going to be really busy. In other weeks, it's not as busy. Like, this week is pretty low key for me. Yeah. And then exactly, Rachel, just like your 7 a.m. is probably like my 5 a.m., right? Because of like your day's almost shifted. So that's still like, just know in your head that you are doing what you are doing. You know what I mean? Like, don't compare. And then, right, always have that as a goal, but some things are out of our control. Just like when some people work like night shifts, like they can't get up at 5. So we do what we can. But if you are the only reason why you're not going to bed earlier, like you need to go to bed earlier. I understand being a mom and wanting to watch TV after the kids go to bed because we're tired and we want to decompress, but that's numbing. That's not making you feel any better. It's just blocking your mind from doing the thing. So anyway, so that's kind of it. Okay, Super Saturday is the last thing I need to block. 2:30. Probably 9. Okay, and then everyone's calendar will look different, but those are the things that are out of your control. The hard set, people are waiting, you have co-pays, like you can't miss these things. These are appointments. Then the next thing, when are reoccurring things that happen, right? So team call is on Tuesday. So mark team call on Tuesday and mark the national wake up call. For me, I just star the national wake up call because I don't necessarily always watch it live. And then I would challenge you guys to set if you're not naturally watching the national wake up call every single Monday, or you're not naturally tuning into the team call, you set an alarm on your phone. You're the CEO of your business and you mark the priorities of your life. And so I would mark those things, one on your calendar, and if needed, put them in your phone. And then like look ahead to next Sunday and mark that we'll do another planning session, that kind of stuff. Okay, then the next thing is mark in when you are doing your workouts and when you are doing your personal development and when you are drinking your shake. So you don't have a business if you're not doing the things. So when are you doing your stuff? Make your appointments for yourself and your workouts as much as as high of a priority as if you were to have a doctor's appointment. Like, you need to show up for you. So take the time to mark that and your personal development. And if you're someone who's not in the middle of a book, decide right now what personal development you are doing for the week. And right, some books take longer than 1 week. So okay. Then the next thing that I feel is super important is, when are you going to be with your family? Like, when are like your non-negotiable times of being with your family? The book, I think it's Entrepreneur Roller Coaster or The Compound Effect, he talks about like you have to set up those kind of boundaries now, even if you're like you're working a lot trying to hit some really big goals. Like, because the example he gave is that he was like, I want to be someone who has dinner with their family every single night. It's like, well, you have to start now. You have to like set that boundary now and have dinner. So for me, the thing I'm trying to be better about is like doing bath time, bedtime, and just like playing with the kids before bed and just really enjoying that time with them as like my non-negotiable mom time. So if you have any of that, or like date night with spouses, prioritizing that, even if your date night is just on the couch hanging out, like when are you guys doing that? Especially, something that I think a lot of spouses think is that We are on our phones a lot because we're constantly like just trying to answer a message here and there. And so letting them know that they're a priority too. And if there's any alone time that they want, scheduling that in. And it's a give and take, right? Because it's like, okay, Wednesday we're going to hang out on the couch, but Tuesday I have a team call. So scheduling that stuff in. How are we doing, Rachel and Tiffany? Am I going too fast? Doing good. Okay. Okay, then, so now we kind of have like our skeleton of the week. You can see the holes. Now you know how your week normally goes. So we know that, right, by the end of the week, we're pretty tired. Like, so being intentional now of like, and recognizing like what was happening with me recently, that I was always recognizing that there was like just this like really hard time with the kids at night, and I was like trying to work during that time, and it was just becoming like a nightmare because that was just like not a good time for them. And so know that as you start to formulate a schedule and try to like be intentional with your time of like, hey, I'm working now, or I'm trying to increase the amount of action I'm taking, so I'm working more, that there's going to be some resistance in some areas, and you're just going to have to tweak it, and that's okay. But you're never going to know if it's going to work or not unless you start doing it. So what is your business focus for the week and your business goal? So we're starting Bar Blend tomorrow. I'm going to model what my thinking, and then you do what you need to do of your own goals. So I pushed it ridiculously hard, especially at the end of December, trying to lock in Premiere and pushing the Bar Blend launch. I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of those people sometimes don't even answer, right? Like they just like don't even answer the message, or they fall off in the conversation. So I will continue, and if I look at our team calendar, we don't have a sneak peek until next week. So I probably will go super hard, continuing to go super hard on challenge group invites all week and really showcasing that group. Now, showcasing the group and pouring into the group. Act as if. Act as if. So for you guys who maybe you didn't have as many people get in Bar Blend that you wanted, those people are watching you right now. And you want to act as if everybody in your challenge group, and I think our team is like super, super amazing at this, so I don't really need to like beat a dead horse of like hyping each other up. But act as if and showcase your challenge group, showcase everybody who's going, and that's going to hype up everybody who is in the challenge group so that they feel this incredible energy and they want to get they want to keep going, right? They want to stay on the bandwagon of, especially in the beginning, our brand new challengers who are, right, remember the first time we did like Transform 20 or whatever. In the beginning, it's really hard to start this habit, and it's hard to get really sweaty, and this is going to be a new program for everybody. So my focus is going to be showcasing like my challenge group and hyping them up and doing a lot of recognition of people who checked in on day one and checked in all week, and maybe showcasing some challengers and things like that, while on the back end inviting a lot, so that they, when I say, hey, I don't know if you've seen my stories, but I wanted to invite you to my fit camp, they will go to my stories, or they have already been watching my stories, and they'll understand what I'm talking about. Maybe they'll want the details. Now, this is something I get all the time is, well, what am I inviting to? You are always inviting to a challenge group, guys. We start a challenge group every single month. Every single month. So just because we started today, if you did not make Success Club, that means there is more reason for why you need to start inviting more ahead of time. You know what I mean? Because we know that if somebody is going to buy something, it doesn't take 2 days. They're not like, oh, sure, send me the information, send me the link. It's like an ongoing conversation. And so really, it probably is going to suit you better if you invite super hard while you're in a challenge group so that they see what's going on. And then in 2 weeks, you can do a follow-up, you know, because enough time has gone by where you can be like, hey, a couple weeks ago we talked. Did you want to do that? But don't wait until the last week of the month or the week before a challenge group to feel that pressure to make Success Club. Lock in Success Club early. That is always the goal, is for you to lock in Success Club early. Now, we also know that Bar Blend stuff is super delayed because so many people are doing it. So if somebody bought next week from you and got their stuff and started drinking their shake, and then we're ready to go early February for our next round of Bar Blend that will relaunch, they already have their things and they're like ready to go. And so that's like a good thing, right? So you either make a excuse, or you either find a reason, or what is it? You either find an excuse or a way. And so just because we just started gives you no out. That gives you no reason to stop inviting. That gives you nothing. So just keep going. Then, just looking ahead a little bit, I will start to shift my posts and my invites to my coaching sneak peek. If you are not diamond yet, I believe you should be sending probably 2 to 3 coach invites a day. Plant the seed with people, even if like you're like, I've never signed one coach up. I've never signed any coaches up. I don't have a team. If you want a team, you have to start inviting to it now. So yes, my invites will go heavier when I am like talking about a sneak peek on my stories and talking about that in a post. I'll increase my coaching invites, but most of the time it's just little dabs. It's just like a couple people a day. So you guys, because I'm someone who likes concrete goals, 2 to 3 people a day you want to be planting the seed with about coaching. And don't overcomplicate this. It's just, have you ever thought about coaching like I do? I think you'd be so great. I love your energy. Period. That's it. Plant the seed, because that, if you want that seed to grow down the line, you have to plant it now. So that is my intention. Now, even my business at 2-Star, it's like 90% of my time needs to be spent on my own invites, and then 10% is on the team, right? So if you have an hour to work or 2 hours to work, that means, what's 90% of 2 hours? I don't know. An hour and 40 minutes? I don't know. I'm bad at math. An hour and 40 minutes is you doing this right here. Connect and invite. Then you get 15 minutes to watch your teammates' stories and answer in the feed. Okay. Like that is 90% of your business. When you get to about 5-star is when they shift you down to like 70%. Like this is always your business, and avoiding the invite is not going to help you get anywhere. If you did not make Success Club last month, or if you didn't make Success Club any month that you were shooting for it, it was because you just need to invite probably more people. And that's just, it's always comes down to a lack of numbers. Unfortunately, when I was thinking back to like this year, when I was like trying to lock it in on the very last day, it was because I didn't invite as much as I needed to, or the month before I didn't invite as much as I needed to, right? Because sometimes that dominoes forward. Okay, so then right now is I would break up your invites into the invite part into like follows, building relationships, invites, and follow-ups. So this is like the 4 parts to me of inviting, right? You need new eyes on your stories on your posts every single day. because you cannot constantly be just inviting the same 10 people. So you need new people to look at your stuff. So if you are only working for 1 hour a day, for example, that's 15 minutes on follows. That's 15 minutes of building relationships. So commenting on people's posts, asking people how they're doing. I put that challenge up yesterday. I hope that some of you did it. You just ask 15 people, like, how are you doing? How was your day? Like, I seriously think that has been a huge part of the success in my business, is I just constantly ask people how they're doing. Because I care, and then I write down things about them, and then I make sure that I go back and check in on them and see how they're doing. If best case, they join and are like a rock star coach. Worst case, they feel better about themselves and I get a friend. So both are super good. The next is your invites, and then following up with people who are interested, and also follow up with the people who've never answered you. So when someone ghosts me, I say, this was not supposed to be an invite training. Sorry. I say, hey, I'm not sure if you got my message, but I would love to have you anytime in one of my fit camps. I host them every month. Like, how are you doing? Or something like that. So if you want, this is where you have to take your week and determine with your goals of how much you are going to work. Now, some days there's very little time, right? When we work a full-time job, then we come home, we have to do dinner. There's those family essential times that are blocked out. Don't try to be doing 10 things at once, because then you're not doing any of those things productively. If you're like reading a book to your kids and answering messages, you're not reading a book well and you're not answering a message well. So try to be focused on what you're doing. I think as women especially, and if you're Enneagram 3 with me, like, we think we can multitask the world away. It's not how it works. You're not more productive. So looking at your day and your goals. If your goal is to make Success Club, like, that's it. My goal is to make Success Club, and there's nothing wrong with that goal. Then you want to do what the times that are said here. The times, the chunks of time, like about 1 hour a day, plus then your own workout and personal development and checking in your challenge groups, that kind of thing. About an hour a day. If you have bigger goals, if you have time in your day, you need to increase the amount of things you're doing. Does that make sense? Like, you're not going to go to Star Diamond on 5 invites a day. Do some days all you can do is 5 invites because life is crazy? Great. That is still moving the dial forward, and that's powerful. But you have to have a vision of where you're going, where you want to be, and you speak to that every single day. I am a diamond coach. I am a 2-star diamond coach. I am an elite coach. Wherever you want to be, you say it every single day as you already are. Can I repeat the 4 parts of inviting? Yes, I can. And they're on your Success Club tracker, just so you know, and you don't have to listen to me ramble. But adding followers, initiating connections, inviting, and follow up. Those 4 things. So it's kind of the first thing, and then the 3 at the bottom. What was I saying? Okay, so then you're going to plot in your times on your calendar. And I suggest, like, if you're blocking out a single 1 hour chunk, drawing 4 lines and then setting a timer. And then when the timer goes off, you switch what you're doing. If you are doing more like, I do 20 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, before work, on my lunch break, after work, after dinner, then write in what you're doing specifically. And then know that there are always more people to talk to. There is always more followers to invite, more followers to find, more, building relationships to do. And that is paralyzing. That was paralyzing for me in the business for a long time, because I felt like if I couldn't do 4 hours of work, then nothing was worth it, because my goals were so big. But that is not productive. So you have to be realistic with your days and figure out what you can do. If you work 5 days a week, now when I taught full time, 4 days a week, 4 work days, I did about an hour a day. And then on Saturdays, I would do a few hours. I have always had kids, and I still count it a full-time job because 3 kids is so busy. But like up until this last baby, I had worked and built the business. And so I get it that time is tight, but there are some things that we're willing to sacrifice and some things that we're not, right? So I'm not willing to sacrifice that bedtime routine with my kids because I want that time with them. I am willing to sacrifice watching Friends for the 50th time on Netflix because that's not giving me value. Now, on the flip side, on Sundays, if John is home, I'm trying to legit finish the things I need to do. Like if I make sure I have like my post up for Monday in regards to my challenge group, I've checked in, I've answered any questions that people have, and then I delete the app on Instagram. And then, yeah, I watch Netflix and I do the things, but it's all about intention and your goals. So I'm going to be really honest. I got like 3 hours of sleep, and so now I'm starting to get a little delusional. So I don't know if this is making sense. So what questions do we have, and then how can I help you put the times in? Like Rachel, talk to me. You're the only one I can see. So
I don't know. I'm using the Google Calendar that Brenna gave us.
Okay.
And then I'm using my planner for like easier reference.
Yeah.
But I'm just blocking out my time, making sure that I get all my cleaning in because we have an inspection coming up. So like that's top priority besides working the business.
Yeah, for sure. And then that is their other top, priorities of our lives. It's not just the business. And so, but at the same time, it's probably better if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to clean for 1 hour a day or whatever. And then that makes you feel more successful and you're getting it done. And then it also gives you a time you can stop.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to, by the way, I hope when they come for your inspection that you show them the stuff in Elias's room.
Yeah. I'm going to put out little note cards of every little thing that they need to.
Good.
Because it's corporate that's coming, I guess. So.
Oh, good. Stressful, but good. So, marking out that time, and then my biggest suggestion, especially when you're working full time, is setting a timer. Is setting a timer and knowing that, and then catching yourself when you start to scroll. Scrolling is not working. You get to collect. You collect nothing off scrolling. If you want to scroll with intention, I'm going right now to every scroll, I'm commenting and building relationships, maybe, but still I would go into it with a list. I go back and I build relationships with people who I've invited and they've said no. I go back and I ask them how they are. I go back and maybe they say no right now, I'm going on a trip or whatever. Then I go back and I ask them how their trip was. I don't say, hey, how was your trip? Also, did you want to know, just so you know, I'm starting another challenge group. I just asked them how their trip was. Not that there aren't times that I'm like, oh, how was that? And then, by the way, my next Bar Blend group is coming up. But, okay, Danielle says, I'm getting up at 4, bathroom with workout clothes in there, gratitude, affirmations, and workout shaker and power hour. Boom. That's what I do. I'm getting up at 4, and then I just recently moved it to 3:50 because I'm a psycho. But I want to be downstairs by 4. Yep. And I'm out the door by 7. And that's like what I did when I taught Rachel or Danielle. That was like my routine. And then, because I'm assuming, do you have to get the kids out the door too? I think she's at church. Oh, just you. That's good. Yeah. So it was actually not so hard when my kids were super little because I would literally just wake them up, change them, and put them in the car. In San Francisco, my babysitter, she was amazing. She fed them like homemade breakfast every morning, and so I didn't have to do that. So I was really grateful. I just gave them literally an English muffin in the car each. But yeah, so that's like what I did. And then, by the time you get home, maybe I could do a couple things before dinner, but I couldn't really count on that time. That was just kind of extra. And then after dinner, I could maybe do a second power hour or a second 30 minutes or something. So it's just keeping your head down and knowing that consistency over time is what gets there. And then, yeah, for sure, there are going to be Saturday, depending on your goals, right? But if you have big goals, having followers at lunch and engaging with some people, yeah. Yeah, and then on Saturday, what I would suggest is then if your work days are Monday through Friday, that's kind of just like your go days. Then on Saturday, this is what I'm going to try to start doing, is Saturday is like my plan day, where, I mean, Sunday is like we're doing this planning call, but it's also my rest day, where Saturday it's like I want to figure like kind of get it together in regards to like clean up the week. So are there people I need to add to my streak? Are there all the like lingering follow-ups, kind of like wrap those up of like, hey, give me a yes or a no kind of a thing. That's kind of when I get a little bit more forceful of like, that's okay if you're telling me no, but I need to know like a hard yes or no. So I'll ask more of a direct question for the people who are kind of been lingering all week. Then I want to like schedule all my groups, and then, we have to talk social media. That's what we have to talk. Okay. So, and then kind of having a plan for my social media. So then on Sunday, when we do the plan call, between Saturday and Sunday, I'll talk to John about like, hey, what do we have going on next week? And then we can do the plan call, and then I rest all Sunday. That's kind of like where my head is at. So then you go into the week of just having to do the things. Saturday is a cleanup day. And then maybe like a big invite day where I send like a bunch of invites because I have more time or something. And then Sunday is rest. And that's also time where like if you have a spouse and you can say like, hey, I just need 3 hours, right? And like sometimes even we'll get up early and do it. So it's like it doesn't even affect them, but it's like really on a Saturday, if you're like, hubby, I need from 7 to 10. I'm going to go to Starbucks and then I'll be back at 10:15 and then I'm yours all day, and we're fam zone and we're cleaning garages and we're doing things. Like 3 hours of intentional time is a lot of time. You can get a lot done in 3 hours. So I get it. Okay. And then for social media. So like I was saying, is I'm going to talk challenge groups and the value of the challenge groups all week. So today I'll post, so these are the questions you want to ask yourself. What objections have you gotten about Bar Blend? How can you answer those objections in your post this week? So a lot of times, like I'm just going to speak generally, right? It's price, it's time, it's like not really thinking maybe it will work or whatever. So you have to relate those objections to your story and tell that. So saying, especially like the time thing is just so dumb when people say that I don't have time, right? Because it's like literally I have no commute and it's 30 minutes. But saying that, because people need to hear it more than once, like, hey, I'm getting this done. Because, and Rachel was a really great example, Rachel Weinstock, is that when we started talking, she was like, I have a gym membership and it's actually really cheap. But so that was her thing. And she was kind of like a hard no on it, was like, a hard no of I have a gym membership, it is cheap, and I'm fine with that. But the thing is that people have gym memberships all over the world, the country, and they're not using them. And so you showing up saying that, hey, this 30-minute workout is getting me this, then these results or these endorphins or this feeling as I'm going to work is powerful. Lead with the why, not the what. Right? In the coach training video, or the coach training videos that is under the social media, I put that in the unit of that 5-minute video about explaining the why, not the what. It's not just what we do. It's not just that we did a workout and that's so great. It's why. How do you feel as you are going into your day now that you've gotten your workout done? Then handling those objections, maybe shouting yourself out, shouting challengers out, doing I'll probably do 2 call to actions this week for my next group. And it will be like one of those like kind of casual ones of like, hey, if you missed it this time, I'm starting another group in February. If you want the information, let me know and we can start talking about it now. Again, I don't want to be waiting till the end of the month to know who is doing Barb Blunt in February. I want to have a pretty good idea, and then hopefully the people will order. Yeah. So something too also to look at if you're planning out your posts is if you look at your last 9 Instagram page posts, do you have a transformation of, you know, either, I mean, I suggest really just doing yourself, and then you can shout people out, but usually have the first slide as you and then like the next one, because people are really interested on your journey. That's why they're following you. In Instagram stories, I think it's totally fine to like shout other people out, and you know, I mean, I guess everyone has different takes on that. That's just what I think. Then do people know that they could join a fit camp with you? Like if you read one of those 9, do they understand that they could? Do you have a call to action in there? Do you have your why in there? Do you have part of your story in there? What do you need to do next week to answer those questions? So if somebody started following you, that they would, it doesn't necessarily have to be like in your bio, like join me for a fit camp. But if someone were to be interested enough and to read your post, they would know I have to, or oh, I could. If I wanted to, I could join her in what she's doing. Also, what value are you adding to your social media this week? What value are you adding to your followers? Is that sharing your personal development? Is that sharing motivation? Is that sharing meal planning tips? What value are you adding? Also, what value are you adding to our team page? What value are you adding to our community page? And with the community page and the team page, remember, adding value is just asking a question that maybe you're having and that other people are having to start a conversation, right? Like in the Together We Are Better, like, hey, anybody got any good lunch recipes? That's going to start a conversation and add value because that's helping. In the team page, hey, does anybody have a good answer to this response or whatever you have going on? Does anyone have a great transformation? The community that we want to have takes work from everybody. And so know that you have things to say and that you can add value. So I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I hope that this was helpful. Next week, I don't have a late shift on Saturday, so I'll be a little bit more here. Do you feel good about your week, Rachel? Going into it? Okay. Danielle, if you can type. Sorry, I keep asking you questions and I think you're driving, so sorry. But do you feel good about your week? And Tabitha. Okay, Danielle feels good. How does Tabitha feel? She might not be able to answer. But if you have a question, Tabitha, answer or type it out, or you can talk. But then I'm going to end the recording.